Hello, guys. Welcome to this new edition of Mind Podcast. This is Aadit Kapadia coming to you on a 2 week break, but I promise you guys, this 2 week break was worth it. I had many commitments also in the 2 week break. You can see, did a couple of podcasts with Kushal. We have a cricket one that's coming up and others, but managed to do a live election show. But here I am going to take that a little bit further. We're going to go a little bit in depth in the elections, but also going to talk a little bit about this Punjab stubble burning, the Parali farmer burning issue. And together with me is a fellow political junkie, because I want to introduce him as that first, because elections ke liye that is a prerequisite. Political commentator, writer, Rohit Pathania, and Mind Podcast alumni. Hi, Rohit. Welcome to Mind Podcast.
Thanks,
Welcome
Aadit.
back to Mind Podcast, I should say.
Yes. Thanks for
But it's
calling
been
me.
a while, I think. You've been like, it's what, 6 months or something since we did the
Ah,
last one.
more than
Kafi
three,
time ho
four.
gaya.
More than
Yeah. Who's counting when we are having fun? So, uh, so before we even start the podcast, right now it's Dhanteras here. It's Kali Chaudas in India, but I want to wish greetings on wishes on Dhanteras. May Lakshmi Devi bless you all. And by the time you guys are listening, we probably would have uploaded this around Diwali time. So happy Diwali to everyone in advance. And for all my fellow Gujaratis, wherever you are, Sal Mubarak, Happy New Year. I wish Nau Varas Tamaru Bau Saru Jai. I had to say that out in Gujarati. So
Ah,
uh, people always say, why do you say for Gujaratis New Year's is bigger than Diwali? I was like, you don't understand. We celebrate Diwali at the same scale as the rest of India, and now we do not want to keep that scale down. So the only way to do it is scale even higher. So
yes.
I remember my dad used to joke, the way to do it is कि दिवाली में अगर 5,000 की लूम फोड़ी जाती थी, नए साल में 10,000 की करने की. So that was we would do the murat in our shop, and he's like, "Chal beta, padake फोड़ते हैं." And then that was my first memory of Diwali.
On a
So with
lighter note, I think that's how you compensate for being a dry state.
you know, oh, trust me, buddy, you don't want to know what sort of things goes on when it comes to us being a tri-state and so forth. But that is all very interesting and stuff. But before we get into Diwali and we talk about that and all, let's talk a little bit about uh, the states that are going to polls, and that is quite interesting. So, Rohit, what do you think about the states? And the five states that are going to go to the polls, for people who don't know, are Madhya Pradesh, Chhattisgarh, Rajasthan, Telangana, and Mizoram. So, how we want to go about this is, I want you to give a brief overview of all five states with your initial findings, and then we'll go state by state, and then we'll go in the end to Punjab.
Yeah. So before we do that, Adit, I must remark one thing. This is probably the most, how do I say, issue-less election that I've seen in a while,
Mhm.
and also the one set of elections where there is literally dead media coverage. And by
Mm.
dead media coverage, what I mean to say is there is no hype about an election that you would
Mm.
otherwise see in India. And that really
Absolutely.
gets me very surprised. I don't know
Mm.
what's going on. Is it because there is so much happening around the world that people in India are probably not even demanding it in terms of content on the TV channels, or is it a conscious decision by news channels to tone it down? But something's amiss for sure. And
Yeah,
now
and
what
by the way,
happened?
FYI, before you complete, this is a Vicks inhaler, guys. I'm suffering from very nasty infection. So before you, एक बार black coffee पी रहा था, somebody is like, आदित भाई झूठ मत बोलो, rum पी रहे हो. So I'm like, this is. So I have to clarify, this is a Vicks inhaler. My sinuses were really bad, but now I'm recovering. So बीच में कभी I have to breathe. I have to be able to breathe. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
More power to you. But yeah, just like you said, that there was a mistake. You were basically mistakenly called out for drinking something else. It's literally the
Absolutely.
same with the way the elections are going on. It's as if there are no elections happening at all, and these are five states that are, at least four of them are critical for the BJP to make a mark next year as well when it comes to the general elections.
Mm.
Now there are two things that all you know pre-election polls, survey polls captured, and that was a very interesting trend. There
Mm.
seemed to be a divergence in the way the people wanted to vote for the state election versus the national election, and this
Mm.
has come after some time, at least in these states.
Mm.
So, I mean, these states were believed to be setting the tone for the 20 for the general election that would happen subsequently in a period of 8 months. But this time, in the early rounds, we saw there was a divergence taking place.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, for example, and this is something actually we saw even in 2018, 2019. For instance, in Chhattisgarh, even though the Congress was brought to power at the state
Mm-hmm.
level, this and it was a 2-9 seat division. If you looked at it from a Lok Sabha perspective, the Vidhan Sabha results, that is,
Correct.
when it came to the Lok Sabha elections, it was a reversal again. So it was 9-2, 9 for the BJP, 2 for the Congress. So it came back to the same set of numbers all over again.
Mm-hmm.
In Rajasthan, even though the BJP was decimated
Mm-hmm.
in the Vidhan Sabha, there was only, I think, one out of the 26 seats that the Congress was able to win in 2019.
Mm-hmm.
So they believe that the BJP needs to win these states so as to be able to consolidate its Lok Sabha victory. Was It seems to be a trend that has already been bucked more than once and is being bucked more than once. Now let's go state by state again.
अच्छा,
Let's look at
before we go state by state, I have a question to ask. I agree with you that इस बार इतना कम हुआ था, and this is something that Kushal and I also talked about, that there are two reasons why this could happen. One, BJP thinks that they might not do as well in states, so they're like, why take that additional sort of focus and synergy on Prime Minister Modi? Because really, if it is a state issue and nationally he is still popular, which he is, there is evidence, then why should this be referendum or a semi-final or a quarter-final? Technically this is a semi-final before the Lok Sabha elections, but it is not, because people do not vote the same way. Semi-final is true if people were voting in a trend. So that was true for 2013, because there was a clear trend against the Congress, and that was being only amplified, right?
yeah,
So, and Modi was the amplification factor. Right now, if Mr. Modi is not a factor, he's not a drag on the BJP ticket. It just means that they are more responding to the local issues. So that
yeah.
was the 2 points. Now, having said that, do you think this is a conscious decision by the BJP not to jump up and down saying, "Ki, let the play out. If we win two states and are able to manage and able to get a foothold, it's good. We'll claim victory, and then we'll go to 29, 23 with a better sort of mindset."
See, Adit, that's a very good point that you've raised, and I think the observation that you've brought forth is making a lot of sense for one particular reason, and
Correct.
this is also seen in the way the ticket distribution has happened. Now, I'll give you an example of what happened in Madhya Pradesh. After a very long time, you've seen like absolute heavy stalwarts from the state being asked to contest elections in the state assembly. Now, these include people like Narendra Singh Tomar, who was also at one time, mind you, being seen as a successor to Shivraj Singh Chauhan as the Chief Minister of the state, the current agricultural minister at the union level. You also have seen Kailash Vijayvargiya, who has been a very big heavyweight from the party in Madhya Pradesh and was literally leading campaigns across many states, including the rather doomed campaign that we saw in Bengal for the party. You know, he's being asked to contest elections again from the Malwa belt. Now, when you see such heavy, or even Ganesh Singh, who's another great MP who's been and a very vocal
That's right.
person who's been asked to contest, Shivraj Singh Chauhan has also been given a ticket. Now, the
Mm,
perception is that it seems that by not calling out who will be the chief minister, they're keeping the door open.
mm,
And that is sort of also, to get the voters
mm,
to assume that maybe it is one of their leaders from their regions to vote, which is why
mm.
they want to keep a tight lid on how they, even publicize the election.
And
Let's
and let's
now,
look at the map of, yeah, let's look at the map of Madhya Pradesh a little bit, and we'll tell you this is the 2018. Now, what is not shown is that 22 MLAs of the Congress party defected. Three of them defected to the BJP. 19 of them went into by-election, and I think three or four lost, maybe a little bit. I'm losing that exact number, but bottom line is that gave BJP the number. So right now you see what Kamal Nath and Congress managed last time, which was 114 seats. The two big blue blobs you see are the Bahujan Samaj Party. Now BSP would always get about 7-8 seats, sometimes even 5, easily a 7-8% vote share, but that has gone down. They still have a 5% vote share. And you see, now one thing is for sure, you see the BJP's urban belt. Gwalior is the one place where they suffered because of Jyotiraditya Scindia, obviously, and his loyalists.
Yeah.
But now that he is within the BJP, this is going to be a pickup of BJP
Hmm?
for the BJP. What they have to be careful about is the Jabalpur region, because that is, and this is the Jabalpur city. I mean,
Yeah.
this entire region that is Kamal Nath's stronghold. That has
Yes.
Chhindwara. The or
Yes.
I what I jokingly call is the Republic of Chhindwara, and
Correct.
because he's never lost. Even in both the Modi waves, he just his son now never hasn't lost. So now that is about 38 seats in the Jabalpur region, and 20 odd in the Bhopal region. Now Bhopal has a significant Muslim population, so you'll see all the other urban areas where BJP percentage wise does a little bit better. Jabalpur, as I said, where Kamal Nath's holding is there, but look at Indore, look at Ujjain, and now
Yeah.
Gwalior too will be a pickup. But Bhopal
Yeah.
may Congress will have 3-4 seats,
Yeah.
because Congress has a Brahmin plus Muslim vote base in Bhopal. It's a strange contradictory vote bank, but they do have it.
Agree.
and
Agree. And it's very
and so
interesting to bring this up, Adit.
huh,
The
hmm,
Gwalior region, the Chambal
hmm.
belt, and the
Correct, right
Bundelkhand
here,
are joining that
which
already.
borders UP.
Yeah,
Bundelkhand, right
basically
here.
the UP border region. All of these were areas where Scindia loyalists, mind you, won in big numbers in the last election, and a lot of them defected eventually.
Correct. Hmm,
So basically, this belt over the period of 5 years became orange,
hmm.
है ना? Because of
And
by-election.
no, it became back to orange. So first it
Yeah,
used to be completely Congress. Then Uma
yes.
Bharti, who is from the
Uma
region,
Bharti
and
was yeah, she was the
huh,
reason in fact this belt went orange and gave
yeah.
BJP first shot at power after a very long time.
Correct. So if I were to show you guys what Madhya Pradesh used to be, and I want to show you guys, this is what 1998 Madhya Pradesh was. This is Madhya Pradesh plus Chhattisgarh. This is what Digvijay or Digi Raja's last thing, where where BJP had 119
Yeah,
things. Now look at this very closely, guys. The difference between BJP and Digvijay was only 3 lakh votes.
yeah, yeah,
But but if you see the seat share, it's almost 60 seats. Then Uma Bharti, led by a almost a brilliant campaign strategy led by Arun Jaitley, that is why he was one of the very most well regarded. They completely swept Digvijay. He believed he could never lose Madhya Pradesh. And
yeah.
look at this: from 83 you jump to 173. BJP की history में इतना बड़ा नहीं आया था. And if you looked at the map and stuff, see, look at Jabalpur, all the 4 seats, BJP is completely sweeping. So that is the sort of sweep that Uma Bharti did, and that also meant that they jumped ahead in 2000.
Definitely.
Yeah.
And if you think about it, Adit,
Hmm.
even despite the Shivraj Singh Chauhan government lasting for three terms,
Hmm.
the election margins have post Uma Bharti also not been very high. I
They have
mean, the
not.
overall total vote count has barely crossed 3 or 4 lakh at any time. In
No,
fact,
no,
I
there is
used
one
to,
election. There is one election that bucked the trend 2013, apart from that,
yeah,
because
yeah,
2013, Yuvraj Singh won with an
that was the
8%
true
margin.
semi-final moment for the BJP, frankly,
Ha,
and that is where the
exactly.
Modi wave was
So
really
that is what
peaking.
I was
So
trying to tell you. Ki
yeah,
that was an anti-Congress wave on across the country.
exactly. But otherwise, and this is a reality you even see when you travel across Madhya Pradesh. I've traveled extensively across the state for various reasons. Let me tell you, the Congress on the ground is actually far stronger than it appears in the seat numbers.
Mm,
The problem is when it came to elections, the Congress infighting would result in massive fallouts, leading
mm,
to votes getting dissipated left, right, and center, and people losing confidence in the party for that reason.
mhm,
That was the first time after like 15 or 17 years, mind you, that the
mm.
Congress was able to really get people's confidence was when Kamal Nath became CM last time. And that is
Absolutely.
when
And
the infighting trend was actually stopped for
yeah,
the first time after a very
and
long, like
so
lengthy
I
period.
have this amazing memory of the Congress party in the 2013 elections, when Shri Randeep Surjewala, who would go on air and he was asked, who is the leader of the Congress party? And then he would start this long winded response saying, our leaders are Shri Kamal Nath, Shri Jyotiraditya Scindia, at that time he was in the Congress, Shri Kantilal Bhuria, Shri Ajay Singh, Shri XYZ, Shri ABC. There were about 8, 9 leaders. And then see, basically Shri Digvijay Singh, how can I forget
Yeah.
him? मतलब लोग तभी भूल जाते थे. The problem is the Congress had 9 or 10 satraps. They were all the old Rajas, tribal leaders like Kantilal Bhuria from
Yeah,
Ratlam and all those. They were all good enough to get you 4 or 5 seats, and that's all they did. And so Congress
exactly.
got 50 to 70 seats. Now Kamal Nath, and I have a lot of disagreement with that guy, lot of disagreement, criticized him 10 times, but one thing I have to give him credit for, he has somehow united the Congress. So I was joking on the podcast earlier today that Mallikarjun Kharge might be given the Baba Siddiqui award for unifying two opposing forces, because he's managed to do that with Siddaramaiah and Shivakumar. Then Kamalnath and what's his name, Digvijay here, and then
Yeah.
Gehlot and Sachin Pilot in Rajasthan, which we'll talk about when we talk Rajasthan. So, having said that, what do you think in 2023? Who is in front, and what are your takeaways for
See,
2023?
till I would say about 3 months back, if you were
Hmm,
to ask anybody on the ground, मामा जी आ रहे हैं क्या? And they would say, हरगिज नहीं.
hmm,
ठीक है? And there was a very solid reason behind it.
hmm,
See, you have to realize two things that happened after 2020, after 2019. One, there was a coup of sorts,
hmm,
or rather, all this movement that basically brought Shivraj Singh Chauhan back to the chair of it, the chief
hmm,
minister. Defections being triggered, led by
hmm,
Jyotiraditya Scindia. Jyotiraditya Scindia is trying very hard, mind you, to ensure that the Chambal and Bundelkhand regions vote all over again
correct.
in his direction. Not
Hmm,
I'm not saying BJP or Congress. I'm saying his direction. Mind you.
hmm,
The problem is that for the Congress, of course, is that the old problem of infighting seems to have triggered once again,
hmm,
essentially driven by, mind you, ticket distribution.
hmm,
So this is basically an election that the Congress is basically digging a hole for itself unnecessarily.
hmm.
In contrast, the BJP did one smart thing. They just announced the candidates very early, at least for the first in
They
the first
they pushed
competition.
them in the hole.
Yeah, yeah. They pushed them in the hole. And mind
Huh,
you, they also got the absolute heavy stalwarts from the state of the party to
hmm,
go back to the roots and contest elections. Now,
correct.
this has two effects. One, you actually have to show your true mettle as a leader.
Hmm,
Second, it also results in cadre morale getting boosted oftentimes. You have to think of it this way.
hmm,
On top of that, a lot of freebies got announced by Shivraj Singh
hmm,
Chauhan. And honestly, I'm strongly against the culture of freebies.
hmm,
But what happened is that one of the yojanas, particularly the Ladli Yojana, where money was being given out
hmm,
to women,
hmm,
direct cash transfers were being given out to women, seems
hmm,
to have struck a chord with the
hmm,
women voters of the state. And this is something that the BJP somehow has managed to do over the last 7 to 8 years. Get the
hmm.
woman voter to turn out and vote for it in bigger numbers than one would
And
anticipate.
and the rural voters. See, बीजेपी
Exactly.
का ये perception था कि it is an urban party. It's not.
नो नो नो, अब तो अर्बन पार्टी कहना भी उसको मतलब इट्स अ मिस्टेक आज की डेट में. इट्स
Hmm,
नॉट एन अर्बन
hmm,
पार्टी. इट्स
hmm.
मोर रूरल देन यू कुड इवन इमेजिन द कांग्रेस टू बी, से इवन
So,
10.
and so I want to echo what you said in the vote share. If you look at from June through November, and we'll look at ABP because India Today has like they've only done one in November, but they're saying 46. Interestingly, ABP News C voter is saying going towards Congress, but it was again neck and neck. Then BJP pulled ahead in 44.7 is the bump you were saying, where the difference was point 0.1. And they did one last week where they are saying that the Congress is marginally ahead. Now, if you ask my take, I think on Madhya Pradesh is that Congress is marginally ahead. Marginally, okay? But Madhya Pradesh all votes in one phase in a week from now.
Yeah.
So एक हफ्ते में बहुत कुछ हो सकता है. And when the gap is 2%, anything can happen. Another thing, others are almost 11%. 1-2% swing from others, the election has swung the other way.
These other, mind you, are people, rather the parties of Samajwadi Party and Bahujan Samaj Party,
Hmm,
critically,
hmm,
and they eventually, win, and those candidates get absorbed into the Congress.
hmm.
So basically, it's a kind of
De
political
facto.
employee conversion program where they'll end up in Congress as mantris. So
The-
on now, keeping that lighter note apart,
hmm,
you have to realize one thing. In the last election, BJP got more votes, mind you.
correct. Hmm,
and yet
They
the
were
seats went to the Congress.
0.1% more than the Congress because of
Yeah,
the margins that the BJP gets.
but that's the ironic part in a state like Madhya Pradesh, where the seat
Hmm.
and the voter distribution, voter numbers distribution tends to not have any convergence.
Hmm. I agree
Another
with you.
state where I've seen that is Goa, very
Hmm.
typically.
Hmm. Hmm.
So, I mean, however, putting that aside, point remains that even if the Congress is slightly ahead in terms of vote share, there is
Hmm.
no
Hmm.
guarantee that the seats are necessarily going the Congress way either.
Hmm. Hmm.
This is a
That's
trend
right.
that Madhya Pradesh has to accept. So
Hmm.
that's why, out of the blue, in the last over the last 3 months, it has become a neck to neck race,
Hmm.
and it has actually got nothing necessarily in terms of any star campaigning happening, contrary to what
Hmm.
people might want to portray. Should a victory happen for a certain party,
Hmm. Hmm. Hmm.
or either ways, rather, I would say. Acha, interestingly, BJP star campaigner Rahul Gandhi never turned up.
Yes.
At least not in Madhya Pradesh.
So
In
that, no,
Chhattisgarh,
that's
he
what I'm
went
saying.
for
So
Bhupesh Baghel.
even if we understand that, even if we think that the BJP wants to keep it localized, seems like so does the Congress.
Yeah, exactly. Nobody is wanting to target the prime minister, at least publicly. All the focus, interestingly, is
Hmm.
on what has Mamaji done now.
Absolutely.
सड़क दे दी ठीक है, बिजली दे दी ठीक है, इनकम दे दी किसानी से ठीक है, अब क्या नया क्या लाए हैं?
Hmm.
ये सब तो हो गया ना, अब नया क्या
Hmm.
लाए हैं? So
Hmm.
that's also becoming a big problem for the BJP, because the kind of industrial turnaround that was expected for a state like MP, and mind you, MP has a very strong industrial base, be it Gwalior, be it Indore,
They
Jabalpur.
have they have two important bases: a strong old school BJP voter, slightly Hindutva vote,
Exactly.
and a strong industrialist base, the old capitalist lobby that always used to favor of the BJP before the newer BJP, where we said that there was some outreach also made to and some socialist schemes were also taken out, but the original base, and Madhya Pradesh, Gujarat and Uttar Pradesh are the three states, and Delhi were the
Exactly.
four places where the old BJP base was there.
Exactly. So
Hmm.
when BJP is being asked these questions as to why is it that you've not been able to create jobs for our children, for instance,
Hmm.
right? And that too, good paying jobs, not like typical sarkari jobs. People are not asking for sarkari jobs; they're asking where are the jobs generally. Right?
Hmm.
Then it's a problem for the BJP genuinely, because it shows that there was a lack of vision for the growth of the state beyond a certain plateau that has already been achieved, and that plateau was
Hmm.
achieved long back, mind you. It wasn't like it was achieved probably within the first 7 years of the BJP term. So since then, it's just been a constant, like straight line kind of momentum where
Hmm.
nothing new has happened, and that has really frustrated the people of the state. I can tell you,
Hmm.
I have friends in the diaspora who belong to the state of MP, and all of them have nothing but jokes to crack for Mr. Shivraj Singh Chauhan, saying ये कुछ
Hmm.
भी बरगलाते हैं. Yeah, literally is what he said. In the diaspora means he's an embarrassment for the people of MP.
Wow, goodness gracious. So
So
that
when
is the
there's that kind of
huh.
sentiment, it's a really problematic issue.
So you have to quickly wrap up because I have to go. Otherwise we'll run out of time. I have to go to
Yeah, yeah.
Chhattisgarh.
So
So quickly wrap
honestly,
up Madhya Pradesh.
MP is a very tight race,
Hmm.
and surprisingly, you are seeing similar sentiments even in Chhattisgarh.
हाँ चलो वाह सेगवे भी दे दिया मुझे.
Ah, because what happened is Bhupesh Baghel, I thought, was leading the race.
हाँ
All of a sudden,
हाँ
Rahul Gandhi appears and destroys his own party
हाँ
by talking all his favorite Adani Ambani nonsense.
hmm.
And Adani, mind you, has made a big investment in Chhattisgarh very recently. So how can he
They
even do that?
the idiots in the even freaking Mamta Banerjee understood and as not defending for the Mahuaji, but
Exactly.
Rahul Gandhi ji is he smokes some solid stuff, so हम क्या
Yeah,
बोल
yeah.
सकते हैं, right?
And
So
T.S. Deo, the
Hmm.
senior leader within the Congress, who's the
Hmm.
health minister in the state as well, mind you, and
Hmm.
who has been trying very hard to be the chief minister
Hmm.
by upsetting the cart more than once. By the
Hmm.
way, because Chhattisgarh doesn't come in the news, people don't realize how terribly fractious the government has been for the last 5 years.
Correct.
There were
And
at least two occasions where
hmm.
T.S. Singh, they were literally rebelled. Said, मेरे को बनाना है चीफ मिनिस्टर बनाओ वरना मैं तो छोड़ के जा रहा हूँ पार्टी.
No, and I wanted to show something because what you said to bear you out. Let's look at all three the last four elections of Chhattisgarh. 2003, BJP gets 50 seats.
Yeah.
Raman Singh, okay, just a majority of 5 seats. 2008, BJP gets 50 seats. Remarkable consistency, similar vote percentage, again 5 seats. 2013, 49 seats. Again, majority of 4 seats. My point is, Raman Singh was your BJP leader. There was no confusion. Ajit Jogi was the Congress leader, and Ajit Jogi was consistently bad, 38, 39, 38, 39. Then he forms his own party, which is the JCC. He
Yeah.
unfortunately died in 2020. Congress also lost some of his leadership in a very bad Maoist attack.
Yeah.
Bhupesh
Yeah.
Baghel comes through, and Bhupesh Baghel leads Congress to a two-third majority in Chhattisgarh. Unheard of.
Yeah.
In the history of Chhattisgarh, no one has ever gotten this mandate.
Exactly.
What Rohit is saying is that it was a fractured government. And look at the map of Chhattisgarh. Except for
Exactly.
these three belts, Congress swept the damn state. And they're still
Exactly.
struggling. Because of
Exactly.
T.S. Singh, the health minister of the state, is not good for the political health of the Congress party.
Exactly. Exactly. And see, Chhattisgarh is a small state when it comes to the in terms of its absolute numbers. Constituencies, the margins can be less than, difference of votes is less than even 1,000 on many occasions. I remember there was this one seat where 100 votes or one vote, I think, even
Mhm,
one vote or two votes was basically determining factor at the
mhm.
end of the day for a candidate's victory or loss. The
Yeah,
margins are very small. It's a typical small state where even a 0.1% swing here or there on a seat, and this is where the candidate selection becomes critical. And
absolutely.
that is the big complaint within the Congress party, that you have basically fielded loyalists of a certain leader,
Hmm.
particularly T.S. Singh, whose name comes up again and again. And Bhupesh Baghel has been completely sidelined within that electoral setup. Now
No,
he is your face of the party. He is the only OBC chief minister that the Congress can claim, as I say.
correct. And I
And this is
wanted to
what
show you, and what you said, I wanted to show you. Look at the margins: 870, 1796, 2647,
yeah,
228, 464, 2129. But I mean, it's a completely small state. So, but it's a state that Congress should have comfortably won. Raman Singh is not
exactly.
nowhere in the fray. They have not projected him. But instead, now you have the insane situation where it is back in play. Now, the exit polls and the opinion polls, I have to end, are all giving it to the Congress, because the opinion polls were done 2 weeks ago, 10 days ago, right?
Yeah,
But BJP is still there. The error of the lead is only 2%. In August, the lead of Congress was 5% in the sea voter poll. 5% in Chhattisgarh is a landslide.
exactly.
Landslide.
Exactly.
Now it's back to 2%. So the BJP is able to manage to cut. And so the Congress is getting just above
And this
majority.
is where the BJP has made a very big mistake by not calling out who's going to be the chief ministerial face of the party. The only
Hmm.
hint given so far was when Mr. Amit Shah came down for the nomination of Mr. Dr. Raman Singh.
Hmm.
Otherwise, we have not seen any sign or indication being given.
Hmm.
I would have strongly personally preferred somebody like Prabal Pratap Singh Judev being brought to the fore,
Hmm.
but that has not clearly happened. The party has its own mindset, which is fine. I mean, good luck to them. But somebody like him who has been active on the ground, unlike Dr. Raman Singh, who's not even been seen on the ground for now 3 years
Hmm.
prior to the election, I mean, that does not send out a very good signal, honestly, for the party.
Hmm.
And in a state where margins are so thin, you need to have your ground leader walking around all the time. I'll give you a very good example. Jairam
Hmm.
Thakur lost the election in Himachal
Hmm.
last year.
Hmm.
But the man has been going around the state non-stop and building contact with the masses.
Hmm.
Trust me, the kind of margin he will come back with in the next round, whenever in the next Vidhan Sabha election, will be
Hmm.
phenomenal. That is the
Wow.
kind of approach that BJP leaders have to take up if
Hmm.
they lose power and come into the opposition. Sadly, that has not been the case in Chhattisgarh.
Hmm. Mr. Dhumal is going to be very happy to hear what you just said. So,
No,
so
see, credit where it's due. Credit where it's due. I
no, no,
mean,
it is, it is. But I'm saying it sarcastically because Mr. Thakur, if
yeah,
Jairam
yeah,
Thakur
yeah,
is doing,
definitely, definitely. No,
see,
even Mr. Thakur and Mr.
the
Chadda
the
will
real
be very
debate, the real
happy.
debate in in Himachal Pradesh BJP is always which Mr. Thakur is doing the work, and which Mr. Thakur is, which Mr. Thakur will be in the center, which Mr. Thakur will be in the state. I think both of them are very capable leaders, but
Yeah.
but it's all interesting times. So,
And Acha, one more trend particularly that has come up in the
huh,
recent years, and I don't know if you think this is the case or not. There is
hmm,
a kind of reversal. in the way
Hmm.
the Congress and the BJP functioning has been going
Hmm.
on for the last 3 years. The
Hmm.
Congress all of a sudden has become a very federal party, which used
Hmm.
to be the BJP's case,
Hmm.
and the BJP has become a very high command party, where
Hmm.
everything has to be driven from the top three or four.
Hmm.
And that is
Wow.
actually not a good sign for the BJP in the long run. It was the federal nature of the party which actually gave it the success it needed and the
Hmm.
sustenance it needed, especially when it was sitting in the opposition for so long.
Hmm.
So, is that a good
Interesting.
trend or not? I don't know, but this is a trend that I started observing of late.
Interesting. Very interesting. So, what a fascinating take on a small state, as they talked about it. By no means, the by no means an insignificant state. Very significant. The tribal areas. There is the mining issues and all sorts of things. But coming to the other big state, Rajasthan. I mean, all states are important. They're all big states, but Rajasthan is fascinating. So Rajasthan is the revolving door of India. मतलब बाकी कोई स्टेट ऊपर नीचे कर I don't think there is been any state that has because even Punjab bucked the trend, even Tamil Nadu bucked the trend, but majal ki Rajasthan trend buck kare. So since 1993 it has been jumping up and down, three times for BJP, three times for that. It's a default BJP state because you have to understand, since the last three elections, whenever Congress comes to power, last four elections, Congress comes to power with 9800 seats, BJP still has 75, so BJP only needs to get 25. When BJP
Exactly.
comes to power, matlab sailab aa jata hai. So it
Exactly.
is so I mean, last time Vasundhara got 163,
Yeah.
uske pehle in 2003 Vasundhara got 120, right? So I
Hmm.
mean, significant majority. So Gehlot gets 96, and then Gehlot is down to 100, and then I mean, down to 30, and then again he gets 100. So Rajasthan also votes in one phase all 200 seats. Some very strong candidates, and some very interesting opinion poll results where all opinion polls are giving it to the BJP. My sources are telling me it's still close for the Congress. Gehlot is unpopular. Still, Congress is making a mean fight of it. What are your sources telling me? And do you think BJP is coming back in Rajasthan?
See, Rajasthan, despite its size, is also another state of thin margins. First of
Mm,
all, let's be clear about it.
mm,
So, what does it mean? What it means is that the candidate selection essentially becomes critical
mm,
for for basically winning the election and getting the
mm,
kind of landslide you're thinking of. And it has always been a default Jansangh BJP state, thanks to the
mm,
great Bharat Singh Shekhawat's political legacy.
mm,
People tend to, underestimate his legacy, and that's a sad fact, but that's happened. Now,
mm,
what's going on in the last 5 years, and especially the last 1 year?
mm,
Vasundhara Raje has finally essentially been asked to step aside after years of dilly dallying. A new generation is being expected to come up. Now, who's the new generation? The only hint that we've seen so far of the new generation is Miss Diya Kumari, who belongs to the royal family of
mm,
Amir, though that has caused a lot of consternation amongst the other, Mewar Marwar Rajputs,
mm,
mind,
mm.
saying,
Yeah.
for Mewar and Marwar Rajput families have been very upset about it, it seems, the royal family.
Also, BJP has done some very interesting adjustments. So after Vasundhara Raje, if there
Hmm.
was a one senior leader of the BJP, it was a Jain leader from Udaipur. Rajasthan also having a very significant Jain population, Gulab Chand Kataria.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Now,
yeah.
he was the leader of opposition.
Yeah.
Recognizing the significance he gives to the state BJP, Mr. Kataria, for the last 9 months, has been made the governor of Assam. So he has been put as far away from Rajasthan as humanly possible. Now,
Exactly.
he was
And
rumored to be a rival
neither
to
of them
Vasundhara.
see eye to eye. Mr. Kataria and Miss Raja never saw eye to eye. That's a
No,
fact.
but I think now they do, because I think Mr.
Yeah,
Kataria
both of them are
accepted.
pregnant.
Exactly. So शायद आप FaceTime करते हो. We don't know. They might be saying तेरी भी चुप मेरी भी चुप. I mean, what are we? Because Miss Vasundhara Raje is talking about resigning. Miss Vasundhara Raje is saying, "अरे मैंने झालापत्रान में मैंने बहुत किया, झालावाड़ में ये किया, वो किया." So, and granted, she's done work and stuff. But the funniest thing is, whenever you have a Rajasthan podcast and a discussion, half the people will comment me saying, "आपको कुछ नहीं पता, Vasundhara was very unpopular." The other half will say, "आपको कुछ नहीं पता, Gehlot is very unpopular." I'm like, "आपको कुछ नहीं पता." 30 सालों से ये दो ही चीफ मिनिस्टर बन रहे हैं.
Exactly.
So I was
Exactly.
like, agreed. Let me tell you, you are all right. But from 1998 to 2018, they have all, they, I mean, 20 साल से, sorry, I said 30 साल से, 20 साल से, to 25 साल से, sorry, they only they have been the same chief ministers.
Yeah, yeah. You know what's the sad part? Gehlot actually was chief minister not because of his electoral prowess ever. It was only because he was a high command selection every time. Though
Hmm.
this time he tried to, show that he doesn't stand in line with the high command, and there was a huge fight with Rahul Gandhi apparently over
Hmm.
ticket distribution in the Congress High Command office in New Delhi.
And, and,
In
and Sachin
even
Pilot ka to hai hi pending. On top of that, this
I was
happened.
the same thing. देखो, Sachin Pilot, frankly, he's an overestimated leader. I'm not
Hmm.
saying that he's not a popular face, but the fact
Hmm.
remains that his base essentially
Hmm.
lies only around southwest Rajasthan, that to like 20-25 seats at best. In a state like Rajasthan, where 20 seats means 10% of the assembly, that's a definite
Hmm.
hang. But
Hmm.
it has to, be driven by a huge number of people actually consolidating behind him. When it came to showing that power in 20, I think 19, he was unable to pull the MLAs behind him. So that tells
Hmm.
you that probably he's not as strong as he's perceived or made out to be often.
Hmm.
So he's
Hmm.
basically an overexposed card in a way, as I call it.
Hmm.
But coming back to Gehlot, every time Gehlot has been made chief minister, the Congress's loss has been even more embarrassing. Have you ever noticed that?
Yes.
So that tells you how unpopular that face has been.
Not just that, but here is the thing.
In Vasundhara's case, it has been, while she was definitely unpopular with a significant segment of the voter base of BJP itself, forgetting other parties,
Hmm.
of the BJP itself, the margins of loss have been driven more by rebel candidates and infighting
Hmm.
than by pure unpopularity. I mean, I'll give you a very good example.
Hmm.
2013, sorry, 2009, of course,
Hmm.
there was an impact of also the Mumbai terror attacks or the blast that took place.
That's right.
I, I mean, you could say all of that, 2008. But you have
Hmm.
to realize one thing, even then, the number of rebel candidates who literally dented BJP in, at least 15 seats.
Hmm.
In at least 15 seats, you had margins where the rebel candidate got more votes than the victory margin of the Congress candidate.
Hmm.
That tells you something.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that the BJP would have gone like 100 all of a sudden, but it would definitely been 18 or 90. So
Hmm.
the point being that it has always been a BJP state to lose for the last 30 or 40 years.
Not just that. So a lot of people said that in 2008, they also lost because of Jaswant Singh and Bhairav Singh Shekhawat loyalists, basically undermining
Yeah, yeah. So
Vasundhara in a lot
basically,
of
that is
seats.
where the rebel candidates turned up from, right?
Yeah.
That's where the rebel candidates turned up from. It was the basis of Mr. Shekhawat and Mr. Jaswant Singh. And
Hmm.
mind you, one reason that is attributed to the unpopularity of Miss Vasundhara Raje with the top two of the BJP has been the fact that Mr. Jaswant Singh was not accommodated in Rajasthan's Lok Sabha candidate selection in 2014,
Hmm.
despite the top two wanting to do that and trying to
Correct.
bring it into the governance fold somehow.
Correct. Correct.
So I think there's no love lost between these parties for sure. But I think the
Hmm.
fact that the BJP wants to move on beyond that, and I'll tell you what's interesting. So the BJP has been trying to get certain communities votes behind it. So Kuldeep Bishnoi's induction in Haryana
Hmm.
has a has a is being was already correlated with the Rajasthan Assembly elections
Hmm.
because the Bishnoi community apparently influences about 20 assembly seats. Assembly seats.
Animal. No, no. They think they influenced 20
Yeah,
assembly
of course,
seats.
of course. I mean, that's how they're seen. But I mean,
Hmm.
BJP anyway has been, it's consistent with the BJP's politics of non-dominant castes being rallied, essentially, or communities
जो
being rallied.
हरियाणा में स्ट्रेटेजी थी कि नॉन
Yeah,
जाट को
so
सीएम
they're
बना
trying the
देते हैं.
same thing. And mind you, people often forget Vasundhara Raje belongs to Dholpur royal family. She's the Bahu of Dholpur. And Dholpur royal family is technically Jat royal family.
Hmm.
Okay. So there has also been a shift away from the Jat vote, which has been traditionally behind the BJP in Rajasthan, unlike other states.
Hmm.
And moving towards getting back to the old Rajput base somehow with Diya Kumari's signaling. I don't know. I mean, is that the strategy? I don't know. Though the
Hmm.
problem is that the BJP, again, I would not say that they're not winning, but the margins would definitely have been better had
Hmm.
this chaos not been created. And we have like two or three prospective self-styled CM candidates sitting in Delhi as well,
Hmm.
including Mr. Gajendra Singh Shekhawat and Rajyavardhan Rathod, by the way, has been given an assembly ticket. I don't know if you
हाँ
know
नहीं
that.
but राज्यवर्धन राठौड़
They have been
हाँ
insignificant over the years. So,
हम्म, नहीं मतलब वो एमपी मिनिस्टर से एमपी से अब एमएलए हो चुके हैं तो शायद कैबिनेट मिनिस्टर
downward
हो
promotion
जाए
going up for him.
हाँ
But
so matlab I don't see but you're right Rajasthan mein there is an issue. The second thing why I don't believe all the exit polls in Rajasthan, since the last 25-30 years the others have had more than 10-15% vote in Rajasthan. BJP plus Congress has never crossed 80%, in sometimes it's never crossed 75. तो आपके exit polls उनको 85-86% दे रहे. तो either there is a total erosion of the independents. Hanuman Prasad Beliwal, all those. Hanuman Prasad Beliwal, by the way, is out of the NDA alliance again. Has
yeah,
done alliance with Chandrasekhar Ravan Azad, so to speak, his party. So
which is an
वो
absolute
क्या होता है, right? And then there is the Chotu Bhai Vasawa's party, Bharatiya Tribal Party, which
yeah,
always
yeah, which
gets
is
few
around
seats.
Udaipur belt basically, where the
हाँ मतलब
Meenakshi.
गुजरात उदयपुर बेल्ट गुजरात की
Yeah, yeah,
पार्टी है जो राजस्थान में दो तीन
basically,
एमएलए उनके आ
yeah,
जाते हैं. बट व्हेन द इलेक्शंस आर fought on so little margins, ये सब भी होता है.
yeah, agree, agree. See, I'll tell you something that now that you pointed out, it's a very good thing that you brought up. You think about, people like Hanuman Prasad Beniwal. BSP had a fairly strong foothold in Rajasthan in terms of voter base. And I think it was the six BSP MLAs that defected and allowed Gehlot to form the government, if I'm not mistaken, five or six. So the other voter base has been around, though it's mostly concentrated in pockets. One being the eastern Rajasthan pocket, second being the southern Rajasthan pocket.
That's right.
है ना? Other than that, I mean, it's always been. So I agree, and this is actually curiously also where the population density is higher actually in the state.
हाँ it is आधे इधर जाओ आधे उधर जाओ बाकी मेरे साथ आओ. the
Exactly. So
the
that's why,
the classic Asrani line.
that's why you see this situation.
And let me
Though,
show you the madness before we jump to Telangana, because look at this. This is the complex madness that is Rajasthan. Look at this belt. You have the
yeah.
Bharatiya Tribal Party, Communist Party पे जीत चुका है, Rashtriya Loktantric Party, RLP, which is Hanuman Prasad Beliwal, and look at these blobs, boss. These are not none of the aboves. These are independents who've won 13 seats. Look at this. And so Rajasthan has, this
And
is the
most of them
Congress
are
base.
rebel candidates, if I'm not mistaken.
That's right. They were. And that is what I'm saying, that it is a complete. So if they are BJP rebel candidates and if they might win again, then the BJP numbers are coming down. So
Exactly.
where are they getting these numbers from? I do not know. I
Yeah.
really do not.
And there are quite a few rebel candidates again this time from the BJP, unlike the Congress.
Correct.
So
Correct. So
yeah,
that,
I
that
mean,
is
there
what
is
we
a
have to
different
see.
problem where I see Rajasthan is
Hmm.
another state, as I said earlier as well, where the candidate selection becomes critical for that
Hmm.
very reason. I
Right.
mean, and this is a problem that the BJP now has been building up for itself across many states. Himachal, we
Hmm.
saw this problem. Rajasthan,
Hmm.
we are seeing the same problem. We're seeing a
Hmm.
similar problem in Chhattisgarh. At least
Hmm.
the states with the margin, the thin, you should not be having this, in Rajasthan, they declared candidates well in advance, which was a good thing. But again, the same mistakes keep coming again and again.
Hmm.
Candidates not being consulted, voter base not being consulted, their own party card not being
Hmm.
consulted properly. So if
Hmm.
you're not going to do this on a regular basis, and then there are measures, by the way, where the BJP should have been targeting the government in a big way, but has not been able to do it. I'll give you a very good example. Old
Hmm.
pension scheme.
Hmm.
Show me one notification paper of the old pension scheme to date, despite all the announcements and the Lok Sabha and the Vidhan Sabha notices. Where is the old pension scheme?
Nowhere.
So that tells you that the Congress has been lying.
Yeah,
Why,
absolutely.
why is the party
Absolutely.
not being able to, show that आपके इतना बकवास करते हो, आप कुछ किया आपने?
Yeah.
Why is the BJP not being able to say that? I mean, that tells you how moribund the campaign of the BJP has been in all of this. And they expect that somebody will come from the center and
Uh,
basically prop up the entire party.
and that would happen to some ways with Vasundhara also, but that's not going to happen here.
See,
But moving
for
to
all your allegations about Vasundhara and Gehlot being in cahoots in one way, that has been the popular narrative. ठीक है, चलो
Exactly.
वो नहीं कर रहे. What has Mr. Shekhawat done then?
Nothing.
What has Rajavardhan Rathod said about it?
No, and they are all MPs. So Mr. Shekhawat, Rajavardhan Rathod are all MPs, and they ought to focus on their national issues, right? But who is your local leader if Vasundhara is not there?
Exactly.
And I don't know the answer to that question.
There is nobody, there's no face, and this is where
So
the BJP will struggle eventually.
yeah, and this is kind of shocking that we are talking about BJP because BJP was the original party that talked about faces. But
That was the federal and the central thing just
correct.
switching sides this time, which is so
But
strange.
but but I have to pause you there and jump to Telangana and Mizoram because then we also want to talk a little bit about Punjab and thing. And so Telangana is a very interesting state. Rohit, of course, is representing his favorite party, Nara Chandrababu Naidu's TDP, which there is more representation in this podcast than it is in Telangana. Chandrababu Naidu, the guy who claims he founded, he did this whole founder of modern day Hyderabad and Hyderabad or whatever things. He's not fighting an election. He's not fighting a seat in Hyderabad. Can you believe? But look at the fall in 2000 till 2019 May. He was the chief minister of Andhra Pradesh, United Andhra Pradesh, और वहां से यहाँ तक.
It's not even
So,
surprising. See,
huh,
Chandrababu Naidu was basically a creation of the BJP, in a way. But on his own, he had been unable to even win the elections the way he should. See, you have to remember, YS Rajshekar Reddy was in power twice, back to back. All it took was so it was twofold. The strategy of YS Rajshekar Reddy when it came to putting Chandrababu Naidu in his place, so to speak. One was, of course, the fact that the BJP and the TDP were not fighting together. And BJP basically brought that 6 or 7% that would enable Chandrababu Naidu to become the government, to form the government. Second, that year, mind you, there was a party called Praja Shakti that was launched by a certain Chiranjeevi that ate away into the TDP votes in a big way. Right? Only
Praja
because
Rajyam,
anyway,
PRP.
yeah, Praja Rajyam.
No, then
Eventually
Mr.
got back into the Congress, mind you.
And then
Totally.
Dr. Chiranjeevi, because he was called that, became the tourism minister of India
Yeah,
after
yeah.
saying Praja Rajyam. I remember in the rallies.
His son's movie Magadira also won the national award for best choreography.
हाँ मतलब वाह.
Anyhow, having
हाँ.
said all of that,
And national awards are so impartial. So what can one say?
so yeah, but the point is that you have had this situation. So today, and anyway, because it was seen as a purely the coastal Andhra party for the longest time, BJP brought it the advantage in Telangana those days. That is the only way they used to form government. And you saw the same thing again. The minute the state split, Chandrababu Naidu was only able to win, was definitely becoming the chief minister. But BJP, the minute it withdrew its support, where is Chandrababu Naidu? He's nowhere.
No, no,
He's
let
been
me show
in
you.
and out of
This
jail for so long, for the last 3 months. How many media channels have covered it?
this is where Chandrababu Naidu is. Almost outside of Telangana in 2018.
Exactly. So
And
that's
so
basically
bad that he's
this
not even
coastal
contesting in
Andhra.
2023.
That too, it's basically very close to the coastal Andhra belt, which is why there's some influence.
Hmm. And matlab, they went from 15 to 2. And, I mean, they were completely wiped out. And basically, Akbaruddin Owaisi is a bigger leader than that. And then you got to 2023, and TDP is not even fighting elections. Chandrababu Naidu right now gets less coverage than Raghav Chadda and Manish Sisodia, another person who's still in jail. Uh, so I don't know what he's doing. Uh, in fact, Bharatiya Janata Party (BJP) has done an alliance with Pawan Kalyan's Janasena Party, and so we'll have to see what they do. OICs are always going to be good for 9 to 10 seats in their thing where they'll be a factor. How many of they win remains to be seen. This time, although, the most interesting part is look at these numbers, man. The Congress party. The Congress is the wild card. So what do you make of these numbers, Rohit?
Very good point. So what's been happening is the two things particularly.
Hmm. I'm going to
There is
enlarge
a
them so you can
fight.
see them a little clearly.
Yeah,
Well,
yeah. So the
uh,
essential fight for the last 3 years in the state has been to be number two, not number one for them. That has been going on with the BJP trying to heavily poach away a large number of votes and prospective candidates, both from the Congress, the TRS, and the erstwhile members of the TDP that are still some physical presence in the state of Telangana. A very good example of this was Itla Rajender, if you recall, who had moved from TRS to the BJP. TRS is not TRS, it's BRS, Bharatiya Rashtra Samiti. Apparently, he wants to be Prime Minister, Mr. KCR, at some level. So, I mean, all of a sudden, TRS becomes BRS for that reason. Anyhow, so given that, we have seen, and Itla, by the way, won the Lok Sabha election in a very, very fiercely contested race. But the problem is the BJP has pulled the rug under its own state unit for some strange reason. It was the Congress that should have been the wild BJP that should have been the wild
So
card, but
BJP, no, and let's forget in 2019 BJP won 4 MPs. Arvind Dharmapuri, Bandi Sanjay Reddy, they are all winning their seats, right?
exactly.
And why Kishan Reddy from Sikandrabad? So why are we going from 4 Lok Sabha seats to forecasting less than 15 seats for the BJP?
For that matter, even in the GHMC polls, the Hyderabad Municipal Corporation polls, BJP became number 2, contrary to what people think. So, what has gone wrong is the clear question to answer. Bandi Sanjay has been basically taken away from the state unit and asked to, do some organizational work, whereas he was actually mobilizing the party in a way that was unprecedented, especially during the Venkaiah Naidu era of the party in the state. So the party was gaining momentum, but
the
why
the
hasn't
fact that the fact that we say Venkaiah Naidu era makes it very interesting, because after 1998, where BJP won 20% of vote in undivided Andhra Pradesh, right? 42
exactly,
Lok Sabha seats, 20% vote, we gave it all up. They gave it all up, right? So then
exactly.
you go to the BRS, the Congress, and the BJP. Right? And I feel very passionate that 98 99 की बीजेपी तो मैं हमेशा काफी बार बोलता हूँ we did that, I did that, because I personally had a very strong connect, I feel, with Mr. Vajpayee personally. And of course I've been an admirer of Mr. Modi as well, but तब एक child बचपन का वो होता है ना कि you are not an analyst, you are a supporter. But coming to you, Rohit, in 1 second, what I want to talk about is, look at the jump of the BRS that gets from 43.55 to 49.61, and that is after a jump swing of 1.5% or 2% votes from the Congress. That's how close that election is.
Yeah.
Half a percent swing and stuff. And ultimately, if this happens, there is only going to be one reality. Asaduddin Owaisi is going to be the kingmaker in Telangana. Now your point.
No, that's true. And this is a sad reality. See, the election beyond Hyderabad is a three-way election. It is a fact. And in a three-way election, even a 1% vote difference is essentially a winner, because the third party is taking away that margin. BJP has chosen to become the third party, sadly. It seems on paper. And the Congress, which actually was gaining somehow because of dissatisfaction and, mind you, a switch of the Muslim votes away from Asaduddin Owaisi. Telangana also has a significant Muslim vote people tend to forget. And this is something that's happening nationally. People really need to wake up, at least in the ruling party segments. The Muslim vote is rallying behind the BJP. Sorry, the Congress in a big, big way. It's going to be seen in UP, it will be seen in MP, it will be seen in Rajasthan as well.
I'm going to tell you something. The Congress party's stands, or whatever positions that they have taken in on the Israel-Palestine issue, is not a completely
Exactly.
crazy issue or something. It's a well thought out, Purani strategy or something like that, because they are
Definitely.
saying what choice do the Muslim population have, etc, is what their calculation is, and they are hoping for a complete 90 to 95% swing towards the Congress party.
You saw that in Karnataka as well. You saw it in Karnataka,
Yes.
mind you. These are Karnataka, Telangana, Madhya Pradesh. These are
Hmm.
all states through which Rahul Gandhi's Bharat Jodo Yatra went.
Hmm.
Keep that in mind.
Hmm.
That has resulted in a revitalization of the cadre of the party. All of us are making fun of it. Let's be candid about it. But I had said it then. I say it now. The Congress consciously did that yatra to make itself number 2 in the country, to re-establish its number 2 credentials in the country, and that was very important for it. so that it showed that we are in the contest. The Congress will need at the end, and this is going to result in all state elections wherever Rahul Gandhi went. The only state where it will be a big, exception is Rajasthan.
Hmm.
MP, you see the kind of close contest it is, right? Despite the Congress, having so much infighting,
Correct.
because there is a vote pattern that is happening in places like Malwa. One should not be surprised where the Muslim vote is quite high if the Congress wins significant number of seats tomorrow.
No, no, and absolutely, I agree. And so now going to Mizoram, the state that has already voted, but also probably the oldest chief ministerial contest there. Zoram Thanga is the oldest CM at 79. Lal Savta, who's the Congress leader, is a very young 77, and Lal Dohama is the youngest leader at a very young 74. So it's a very interesting contest in and good. They're fit and everything. Absolutely good. More power to them, but it's very interesting where there are 40 seats and there are 4,000 candidates as expected, and the margins are going to be very thin, right? But here is the strange exit poll situation. Look at this madness. The difference is 2-3%, and ZPM, or the Zoram People's Morcha, is what it's Zoram People's Movement, I should say. Morcha movement is basically the kingmaker. So the
Yes.
best news, and now this here is the thing: BJP is also fighting seats, but BJP is an ally of the Mizo National Front, but they're still fighting against them. They're all in NDA. So BJP is hoping that MNF wins and gets 20 seats, but more likely than not, it will be a hung assembly. And if there is a hung assembly, there is a chance that INC and ZPM actually get together and form a
Yeah.
government. So Congress is an outside chance here too. What do you say
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
this?
Yeah. And you know what's the big driver? People don't even realize this.
Hmm,
It is what has been going on in Manipur for the last
hmm,
7-8 months.
hmm,
See, the Kuki Mitai conflict that has been going on for a while in the
hmm,
state has a direct bearing on Mizoram because Mizos see themselves as blood kin to the Kukis.
hmm, hmm,
That is reflecting in the anger against Zoram Thanga, who, despite taking public postures, has still been in alliance with the BJP. So it is a blowback that the alliance may face once the results come out for all we
he
know.
also opposes the CAA, I think. So it's a very,
Exactly.
very
Very same reason.
alliance of contradictions.
Yeah, for the very
Correct.
same reason, because there are a lot of illegal Kuki immigrants
Hmm,
and they were not necessarily covered under the CAA.
hmm,
These are the Kuki, I mean the Kachin Zo people that come from Myanmar particularly.
hmm, hmm,
See, you have to realize a large number of issues around what was going on in Manipur were primarily driven by drug and opium smuggling and illegal immigration that is, in cahoots with the drug smuggling in the belt.
hmm,
It's
hmm,
basically the fourth angle of the golden triangle of the region of Southeast Asia. So
hmm,
that has been a big problem for the entire Northeast. It has reflected in the way the people have eventually voted, I'm sure. What is the eventual outcome? We don't know.
hmm.
But it doesn't mean that the Congress and the
ZPM, Zoram
ZPM,
People's Movement.
ZPM, sorry, will be able to necessarily, bring any miracles overnight. So, I mean, it's fractious times in the Northeast, sadly, again,
No.
and driven by, and I just keep my fingers crossed that it doesn't end up affecting national security in any way.
Absolutely. That's all we can hope for. But one thing I'll tell you for sure, and we'll do a post result analysis. One thing for sure is this is not going to be a simple election day. It's going to be a very close contest. पाँच पाँच दस दस पाँच हजार वोटों से states पूरे flip हो जाने वाले, and political junkies like us are going to have a cracking Sunday morning in India and Saturday evening in
Yeah.
in America, for me at least. Moving on, and again we'll talk in detail in this, but moving on to the stubble burning, and I want to end with this. We'll end with some happy news on Diwali, but the Delhi bach gaya barish se. But can you tell me
Exactly.
how bad it's been? Because my friends, I've been talking to them, and they have been saying that it was like a furnace. You could not see anything. It was like smog coming out, and furnace minus the heat. So it was not hot, but it was just you get that very smoky sort of feel. People could not breathe, and
Yeah.
you cannot rely on bin mausam barsat every time.
We essentially got blessed by Indradev, to put it mildly, this time. And the sad reality is this is not a one-off event. This has been happening every year now for the last at least 5 years. The answers that are needed to solve this problem are multi-layered, but because of the absolute collapse of law and order that we've seen in Punjab repeatedly in the last 1.5 years, the one time when there was some significant action was when Amritpal Singh basically was apprehended. Not even apprehended, basically chased around. Okay? But the fact remains, we have the you have visuals where government officials who went to stop farmers from burning stubble were forced to burn stubble themselves by the farmers, basically bullied into doing that. Then we have images of the police force trying to douse fires of stubble in the stubble that has been burned instead of farmers doing it. That tells you that the state's writ is really under a question mark. What is going on?
A-
It
and
is a
then I found And then I find people like News Laundry saying, अरे ये अकेले पंजाब का प्रॉब्लम नहीं है, 30% बाकी स्टेट्स का भी है. I'm like, भाई पर 70% तो पंजाब का है ना. How can you just
exactly
completely go back because you don't want to talk about Aam Aadmi Party?
the sheer number of incidents between Punjab. I'll add it. Tell you what. Pull up a screenshot. I'll share something with you. You just pull that up. Uh, I'll share it on your
हाँ, so
Twitter
why,
timeline.
why हाँ, तो while Rohit is coming up with that, I'm going to give you guys a perspective, right? Uh, so Haryana and all where there is an issue, but in Punjab, people always say that financial, ye hona chahiye and all that. Why? There should not be an incentive to commit less crimes on the environment. I don't understand. In fact, there should be a financial punishment. And it's very simple for people who do, for farmers who are caught with stubble burning, unki free electricity band kar do ya free fuel band kar do. Simple.
Forget that, Baba. If you are not, I've shared a tweet, so you can just probably look in your Twitter messages.
Hmm. Hmm.
Just think about this, Adit. Pollution is an equal opportunity killer, even in Punjab. Aren't people in Punjab getting exposed to this kind of horrible smoke?
Yes.
Exposure to particulate matter is deadly. Now look
Look
at
at
this map.
this. This is
Now you're
UP and
saying
Punjab.
30-70% nonsense.
Hmm. Hmm.
Almost entire Punjab except the region bordering Himachal and Jammu is burning.
Yeah,
And
and
this is running. This is
the only other Punjab that is burning is across the border. In case you are looking,
exactly.
wondering what is that
And
is.
you look at the date, and I pulled it up because of the date.
Hmm.
This is something
You
I
can
put
see
up
it.
as a screenshot just a couple of days back.
Absolutely,
This
absolutely,
is from the NASA Earth Observatory. We should be ashamed that we are actually getting into this stupid debate of 30%, 20%. The map speaks for itself, for heaven's sake.
absolutely. I agree. So can what can be done to prevent this, and why is there nothing being done? Is there no political will at all?
There is no political will because Punjab government thinks that if it upsets the apple cart on farmers, any party for that matter, it will face the wrath of farmers and they will never come back to power again. One, second, the BJP has also not necessarily been very great on this issue because it has its own memory of what happened in Himachal with Shanta Kumar and the apple farmer agitation back in 1990. So they
Hmm.
have also been very risk averse since then. The problem is all political parties essentially assume that we will just close our eyes like the pigeon and the cat will disappear.
The problem is not only is no one belling the cat, it's gotten 10 times worse. The cat is almost outside the door, and if these guys don't understand, this is going to be a big problem.
Exactly. See, Delhi's air pollution is a problem. We all acknowledge that, and that's not got anything. That's not just about the stubble. It's a bigger issue, frankly.
Hmm.
And I'm
Hmm.
all for solving a lot of these issues here. I live in the NCR. I also get affected by air pollution. In
Hmm.
fact, consciously I try to avoid driving. I try to use public transport or shared mobility options like cabs, etc. as much as I can.
Correct.
Just I don't add to the. But the problem is that when this is something that is clearly identifiable, that is clearly actionable,
Hmm.
and nothing has been done, mind you, either in
Hmm.
terms of ensuring that the stubble is picked up and utilized for some other purposes,
Mhm.
You know, Haryana has been able to do that. It's
Mhm.
getting people, farmers to give up stubble, sell it off to industries for making things like particle fiber board,
Mhm.
which is used for furniture here.
Correct.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
or for that matter, even burning it to generate power. In
Mhm.
UP, thermal power plants are buying that stubble
Mhm.
to co-fire it with coal. Getting multiple benefits because 10% blending. There's a bit of science behind it.
Mhm. Mhm. Mhm.
Point is, why is Punjab not able to do that? Punjab has so
Yeah.
many thermal power plants. Why is it not able to co-fire it?
There
Or
is
for
no
that matter,
political will.
why is
Mm.
Punjab not getting into this for the paper industry? There's a significant
Yeah.
paper industry here in Punjab.
Mm.
It's just, I mean, the kind of arguments that you hear are absolutely nonsensical.
Mm.
And the AAP government deserves the stick, the beating it is getting from
Mm.
every end right now, deservedly, because they said that they would change it the minute they came to power in Punjab. 2 years down the line, nothing has happened.
Mm.
All that we have seen is the chief minister basically tweeting out an appeal today.
Mm. नहीं नहीं मतलब दे हैव ड्राफ्टेड प्रेस ये तो ये बात होगी 2 साल में आपने क्या किया हमने प्रेस रिलीज एडिट की जो 2 साल
Ah,
पहले भेजते थे उसमें ये
exactly,
एड
exactly. And
सो
come on, people are dying. Forget Delhi. People are dying in Punjab because of exposure to this air pollution. Children are being affected. Unborn children are being affected because of air pollution. This is scientifically proven that unborn children get affected by sustained exposures to air pollution of the mothers. Come on, yeah, you are You say that the Indian state is committing genocide against you, especially the segment of Khalistanis. This is genocide being done right now in the present.
नहीं नहीं एंड द खालिस्तानीज आई वुड डेयर देम टू डू दिस इन कनाडा एंड यूके वहां पे
Ah,
भी तो
exactly,
फार्मिंग होती है ना वहां पे कर दीजिए जरा
exactly. There you can't get away with this now because the writ of the state exists.
हाँ writ of the state exists and they don't want to sort of make the state enmities with the state यहाँ पे तो उल्टा है the state itself has capitulated
And
so
the worst part is, mind you, Adit, the same Kisan Morcha that is not letting state action happen has threatened a couple of days back that they are going to bring out another set of rallies to Delhi and sit again, do a dharna. The election timing देख लीजिए इनकी.
हाँ ये बेस्ट है so
यही
anyway
करना है.
the one thing I'll wrap up this segment saying is that the long term solution this has to be you have to penalize for this you have to differentiate between the big farmer and the small farmer
Exactly.
इफ देयर इज अ स्मॉल फार्मर है पर अगर कोई जमींदार जिसके 2-3 हजार एकड़ की जगह है और ये कर रहा है जस्ट बिकॉज इट इज cheaper for him to do because there he's already getting tax benefits he's already getting electricity benefits he's already not in the normal tabka of the farmer he is in the top 1% in India
Exactly.
तो आप क्या कर रहे हो राइट या तो आप ये करो कि ऑल द बिग फार्म्स ओवर अ सर्टेन एरिया इफ दे आर डूइंग इट एंड इफ दे आर शोइंग अ सर्टेन इनकम उनको बोलो नॉर्मल इनकम टैक्स भरे मैं देखता हूँ 40% इनकम टैक्स भरेंगे और स्टॉप स्टबल बर्निंग
Exactly.
मैं
Exactly. I
देखता हूँ
mean,
फिर कैसे होता है ये स्टेट कैन हैव अबाउट मिलियन वेज टू एनफोर्स स्पेशली स्टेट लाइक इंडिया
exactly.
वी हैव डन
And
इट
this is
बिफोर
the problem, Adit, of having not achieved the kind of crop diversification we needed decades ago. Eventually, this is the only long-term solution that can come up. If you want to continue agriculture in this belt, you have to diversify away. I don't know how that will happen because there
I'll
seems
tell
to
you
be more.
this. It's a bit of a tragedy that 28 years after 1985 and then post 1990 when a bunch of Punjab police officers were able to control Khalistani terrorists in Punjab, we're saying they can't control a bunch of fire burners.
Exactly. Exactly. That tells you that the state is not interested in addressing the issue, na?
Because I refuse to believe that Punjab police has gone that route. They have not. So let's all wake up. But with that, I don't want to end with depressing news, so I'm going to end with positive news. It is Diwali, guys. Um, let's hope India wins the World Cup. They are in the semifinals of the World Cup. We'll do a whole cricket podcast as well, but I could not, not mention it. Rohit Sharma has a most remarkable record. He still hasn't lost the one World Cup match as a captain because he was the first World Cup. So I'm praying that continues, that sustains, and he never loses another match
नहीं,
as
no, नहीं.
captain.
शर्मा जी के बेटे पे आशीर्वाद बना रहे.
बिल्कुल बट हमारा ओल्ड नेमेसिस जो हमको हमेशा सेमीफाइनल और नॉकआउट्स में हराता है, न्यूजीलैंड, उसके सामने वानखेड़े में हो रहा है, ट्रेंट बोल्ट इज देयर.
I don't know, Adit. Somehow I felt that the match against New Zealand in Dharamshala was far closer than it appeared in the scorecards. I don't know.
It
I don't know.
was no, it was because mm,
I
ultimately
mean,
there was a little bit of dew that helped us, and Virat Kohli was just
hmm,
looking in good form. So when Virat Kohli is on song, even a closer match, he'll take you over the line with his that X factor that he brings to the team. But at 191 for 5, my cousin was in the stadium in Dharamsala, and Surya Kumar Yadav run out ho gaya na. She sent me a bunch of interesting expletives that I will not relate to, but both her and I were exchanging expletives at that time.
yeah. I am not surprised. I mean, it was a very tight match as I felt, and I mean the momentum never was in India in the Indian camp in that match. That's how I felt.
No, but
Maybe
we
it
did
could have
not
been
look
a
very.
case.
We looked fluent, but not as fluent as we looked against Sri Lanka, South
Yes,
Africa,
yes,
or even Australia. Australia में भी एक बार विकेट्स गिर गई है, कोहली को ड्रॉप कर दिया, उसके बाद we just dominated. But uh, this was different.
fingers
So
crossed. I don't want to jinx it.
cross
Fingers crossed.
fingers, absolutely. We'll be here to talk more. But before we go, any recommendation that you have for our listeners, Rohit?
So actually, this one is not a new recommendation. This has been discussed, I think, and done to death. So I was traveling back from Bangalore yesterday, and I mean going back and forth between Bangalore. So there were two interesting movies, one documentary and one feature film that I think I should recommend. The feature film, I think I'll take the name and everybody will realize Kantara. If you've not seen it today, please, please, please watch it. It is literally, I mean, years down the line, people will actually understand the real value of the movie because it is a defense of tradition in its purest, rawest form that you can imagine.
The jokes were that Glenn Maxwell, who came up, who was flat on the ground and woke up and started jumping up and down. RCB fans were saying, "Hey, Kantara this ho gaya," where he just went like, "Wow!"
Yeah, I know. But I mean, jokes apart, it is a fantastic movie. I think it is one of the best forms of Indian storytelling, as I say, that has been missing in our movies, particularly Hindi movies, for a very long time.
No, so नहीं, पर हिंदी मूवी में भी है, but कंतारा में क्या है कि the South Indian movie telling is a little over the top, and it actually fills up in this perfectly. I'm not
Yeah,
saying everything is over the top. Maniratnam is not over the top, but
no, no,
this
I
fits in
agree.
the
I agree.
narrative.
What I mean to say is, it is the quintessential Indian way of telling a story.
Mm.
That is something that I think
It felt like I was in a Jan Natak, in a street play where
exactly, exactly.
everything is
More
"Arey dekho isko, wo is Jammu," like that.
yeah, yeah. So if you remember, so there is a theory of Navarasa that happens in Indian classical art, and this movie literally is a reflection of Navarasa.
No, no, I'll tell you another one, because this happens in Gujarati art. It's called Bhavai. It
Yeah,
gave
yeah,
me a
yeah. Bhavai,
very,
Bhavai.
very much like Bhavai. Okay, I was watching that old school Bhavai when they were doing the
Bhavai
Daivakola and
is
stuff.
rooted in Navarasa, so that's why I was saying that. So this is
Absolutely,
something so absolutely relatable for that reason.
absolutely. So the
So
minute
that
he
was
started, I'm like,
one.
wow.
The second movie recommendation, interestingly, was a documentary that I saw on the life of Kenny G. So
Hmm.
for those who don't
Wow.
know Kenny G,
Hmm.
Kenny G is a jazz saxophone,
One
was
of the
originally
best saxophonists.
saxophone players, but he's had a very, very controversial record despite his huge sales about
Hmm.
having diluted the purity of jazz.
Hmm.
And jazz critics have essentially panned him over the years or also defended him. So he's a very dividing figure for that reason in the music industry
Hmm.
scene. So
Hmm.
this was a documentary about him. So please, this is an HBO movie. So if you made by Penny Lane, so if you can
Hmm.
get your hands on it, please do. It's an amazing watch. I mean, it tells you the way one of the greatest selling artists of all times, music
Hmm.
artist, the
Hmm.
way he thinks about music. I just
Absolutely.
absolutely engaging movie. So please, if you can get your hands on it, do watch it. It's I think the life of Kenny G. I think inside the mind of Kenny G or life of Kenny G, something of the sort.
My recommendation is going to be Aspirant season 2.
Oh,
Watch it. It's very fascinating, well written. I didn't like it as much as I liked season 1, because season 1 was very raw, very real. Season 2 may, I guess, I mean, it's written with the heart in its right place, but they're also trying to show that over zealous bureaucrat and stuff in a very sort of they've taken the safe approach, but which is interesting still to watch. but do watch it. It's a very interesting perspective on how, the government is run and how the tenders and contracts and whole happen. And my second recommendation is going to be what you said about documentary, a documentary on WeWork, that's on Hulu, which is in Hotstar, because WeWork just filed for bankruptcy, and
Yes.
it's basically a film about this idea that went horribly wrong and why it went horribly wrong, and that's what I want you guys to see. But amazing, lovely podcast, Rohit. I thoroughly enjoyed this, and we'll do another one maybe after the elections, and we'll do an update. But thank you so
Definitely.
much for joining. And
Thank
I know, guys, we haven't covered anything, but we promised you a 45 to 60 minute podcast. We're already hit 80 minutes, so
you.
you guys cannot complain us. But yes, that's how fast the time has gone. It's almost 75 to 80 minutes. So thank you all for joining. Please like, share, subscribe, follow Rohit on social media. We'll tag him everywhere, and he writes some fantastic things. He's done some amazing podcasts on VAD and other networks. Please do check it out. He's done some good talks as well. So and let us know what you felt about this. Till then, it's happy Diwali once again. Sal Mubarak to everyone, and hope you have a lovely
All
day.
my Gujarati friends and distant relatives in Gujarat, thanks to my one of my cousins marrying into Gujarat. So, sabko saal
Lovely.
mubarak.
Lovely, and we'll see you in the next Vikram Samvat, and with what promises to be a fascinating time. Till then, goodbye and thank you.